seconds. Doing something a little different today, cyberspace cadets and CREEMER prostate. It's Thursday, you know, it means it's time for some hot takes. And in the room with me, of course, is none other than the Butter Baron himself. What up, man?
What up, fam?
That's right. How you doing, man?
I'm doing rather good. You know, life is good. I don't have a ton of work, and finally able to live stream on my channel again now that I got another laptop up and running.
Well, fucking A, man. That's awesome. That sounds good.
Yeah, fucking YouTube, taking away my ability to live stream.
And I want to welcome everybody that's viewing us via DLive and Twitch. We're kind of like doing a kind of an experiment here. It was a touch and go for a moment there, but I think the patient's going to survive. Doctor, what do you think?
I think so too. And extra special thanks to those on DLive. I'll probably start live streaming on here as well. Yeah,
this is some exciting shit here. So everybody in DLive, howdy. And on that note, all right, we're here to talk about we're here to talk about a movie, man, aren't we?
Logan's Run.
That's right. And before we get going on the actual film itself, I just want to do a little background on the people behind it. Okay. The movie is directed by a guy named Michael Anderson, who actually the option for this for the book, which came out in 1967, was purchased by George Powell. And I don't know if you recognize him. He did movies like Destination Moon, When Worlds Collide, War of the Worlds, The Time Machine. Let's see, The Wonderful World of Brothers Grimm, The Seven Faces of Dr. Love. These are some classic sci-fi fantasy films from the 50s and early 60s, right? So this guy, right around 1968, when he picked up the option on him, the 2001 came out and Planet of the Apes. So sci-fi was becoming a viable genre when it came to making money at the movies, right? I mean, that always made money, but it's not like, the Creature from the Black Lagoon or the Big Eyeball from Outer Space or some shit like that, right? And to make a long story short, it got stuck in production hell and ended up in the hands of Saul David and at MGM. And he hired Michael Anderson, the guy pointing, to direct this thing. So on to the cast. The film stars Michael York in the main role as Logan 5. Brian, got any comments about him?
No, not really. Honestly, mostly what I focused on was the actual story rather than the background stuff.
Okay. Well, just let me,
go ahead and do the spiel, sir.
That's right, brother. And then this guy, Richard Jordan, plays Francis Seven, who is who's kind of like the antagonist of the movie. Jenny Agutter, the lovely Jenny Agutter. She looks great for her age at this point, and that's a current photograph of her. Foxy as hell in this movie, though, because this movie came out in 1976, the year before Star Wars. So,
actually, can I stop you there?
Please, brother.
One thing I did notice about this movie, when you say foxy as hell, you are not kidding.
I told you, man. I told you she was eye candy, man. And I mean, this movie's loaded with it too, man.
Yeah. Why are all the boobs great in this movie? They're like, no, seriously.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the water nowadays, but they don't make boobs that way anymore.
I know, man. Just healthy, normal, natural tits, man.
Yeah,
gorgeous and voluminous and voluptuous and tasty looking. All right. Anyway, sorry. Got running away there. And Roscoe Lee Brown plays the part of the cyborg box that we'll be talking about later. And then the supporting cast includes none other than the famous Farrah Fawcett or Farrah Fawcett Majors, the famous actress who was known for that haircut right there, the wings, right, is what we called them. And then we started parting our hair down the middle, doing that, and we called it the butt cut. But she made that haircut famous, and she was there was a poster I had of her in a bathing suit with nipples, and thanks for the helping me get through puberty. Thanks, Farrah. She died horribly, so we won't dwell any more on that. Michael Anderson Jr. plays the doctor. I just listed him because he was in the credits in the first top couple. I don't know why. He's not related to the director, Michael Anderson. I have no idea why. Anyway. And, of course, the last but not least is Peter Ustinov as playing the old man, who I thought did a fantastic job at it. If you recognize this guy, he played Hercule Poirot in a lot of the Agatha Christie adaptations for television and for the theater. So, yes. And on that note, all right, we've got the production nuts and bolts out of the way. A good dystopic movie. It's interesting because it is a dystopic movie and it's a utopic movie at the same time. It's kind of a little of both. Brian?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's a dystopian future for sure because they're stuck in these domes where, they're clearly undereducated because they their society, it doesn't seem like any of them have any critical thinking ability.
Well, and did you notice when she runs into Newt from Aliens, and Newt tells her that she's too smart to go and be with the others, right?
Yeah.
And she wasn't saying that she was saying that as in her IQ was too high or some shit, right? That's what I got from. Anyway, I kind of got ahead of us on that. But yeah, it is dystopian. All the people there, it's almost like a cult of youth. Once you reach the age of 16, you're integrated into society. You're born, as we'll see. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and go to the main page and talk about, because the movie opens up with Logan looking at a baby, and it's the next Logan. It's Logan 6. And, he's talking about, how it implied that he donated the sperm. It's not like he, it was the babies were cloned or anything, which I thought was interesting. And so so the babies are raised in these incubators, and then they're let loose if they don't acclimate to society, right? And if you don't, then they put you in this place called the Cathedral, and if you survive Cathedral at the age of 16, either you adapt to the society or they kill you in a ceremony called carousel. And then from the age of 16 to 30 is your life. They don't really go into the every day, like jobs and shit. There's, the only job that they focus on is the Sandman and then the plastic surgery clinic, right? And then pretty much all the other jobs, they were kind of lost on me. And that was always kind of like a focal point. Now, what's on the street? Go ahead.
I don't really think they had jobs.
Yeah, the arcade and then the love store, or
yeah, but it seemed the vibe I was getting when you're going through the movie, especially
it's a leisure life. It's like almost leisurely, right?
It sort of seems like a French perfume shop where the people could just not care about selling you anything while you're there.
Well, and it's really hedonistic oriented. There's the device that you're looking at right there. It's like a cross between Tinder, the transporter from Star Trek, and let's see, and they call it the circuit, right? And if you're like horny and you want to, just have sex, you just get on, you get in the circuit, and people dial you up, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'll take this person, kind of like Tinder. It's kind of weird. I thought that was interesting when I saw it again. That like, holy shit, that's kind of like Tinder now. So, but it's all around the cult of youth, right? And once you hit the last day of your 30th year, you do this thing, what they call carousel, and you start spinning around, and they say that you're being renewed, right? But what's happening is that these
rebirthed.
Yeah, right. All these people are being killed, right? They just kill you, and for every baby born, a person has to die, right?
It's the 1-for-1 rule. It's the whole motto their society is built on.
Exactly, 1 for 1. Yeah.
But I gotta say, the scene where they're actually spinning around, I know. What year was this made again? It was, what?
1976.
76.
I was wondering if you want to say something about that. Go ahead.
You could see all the strings.
Yeah, no shit.
I was like, okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure Star Wars came out around the same time. I don't remember seeing any strings in Star Wars.
Yeah, they. I don't think they were like working the blue screen that much, and the makeup was kind of subpar in my opinion too.
Well, I mean, and the carousel scene, right, where they have this weird light that sucks them up, and it comes down slowly, and then cups back upward a little bit.
Right.
I'm like, I can tell you drew that on. You went frame by frame and drew it on.
Well, there was a lot of there was matte paintings, a lot of a lot of the old school stuff that went on with this production. I think, given for what it was, it was kind of cutting edge. The city miniature, who I couldn't find any information on who the fuck was behind that, right? Was fantastic, I thought. Just, once again, you got to put it in perspective. I think some of those guys that had to work on the city probably worked on the Star Wars project too, because it was real reminiscent of that stuff.
Yeah. So, I think that with the intro of this, you sort of have to give an atmosphere for people that are going to want to watch this. There is this almost Godzilla atmosphere, because you can tell that the city that's built underneath the domes, because they all live in these
they're miniatures,
survival domes. Right. Yeah, it's a miniature,
right? But
it's not horrible. It's okay. It looks kind of somewhat realistic for the first few seconds when you watch it. You're like, okay, I could see these being kind of skyscrapers, and then obviously, as the movie goes on, you're like, oh, well, this kind of looks like a mini Lego set, but
yeah, well, when you've got those the tubes, those glass tubes with the little train things in them and stuff, that's what gave it away for me.
Exactly. That's exactly what did it for me too.
Yeah. So, this is a very dated film. And the reason that it was put up on Netflix, I found out, is that it's been re-optioned for a remake.
Oh,
yeah, and this remake is kind of getting lost in production hell too. But there's a lot you could say.
Whoa! Do you have insider information on this remake?
That said, let's see. I'll look it up. I'll
no, you can keep going. I can look it up if you don't.
No, dude, I got it. I got you, bro. Why don't you talk a little bit about, all right, so the carousel ceremony happens, and talk about the Sandmen, and what their jobs are.
Sandmen in this society are like cops. Basically, they track down people who are going to run from their carousel or, 30th birthday. I should also explain that in this society, they don't have mothers or fathers. They don't have natural birth. They just have lots of people that are born at one time. So the main character's name is Logan. but I believe he's Logan 6.
Right.
Which means that he's from lot 6.
No, he's Logan 5, I'm sorry.
Oh, is he Logan 5?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
I got it.
what was his co-partner or whatever?
He's Francis 7.
No. Francis 7 is his like Sandman buddy.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the chick he meets.
Oh, Jessica 6. She's the 6.
Yeah, that's right. Jessica 6. Okay, that's why I got them mixed up. It's Logan 5, Jessica 6.
Bingo.
So you get this idea that, there's really no family in the dome. There's no... You might have that one friend that you hang out with, but it's not really like what you would consider a modern-day friendship today.
Right. It's more like you go to orgies and like have, 3 and 4 ways together and shit. That's what the friendship is. It's very superficial and not meaningful at all.
You know what? Actually, this movie very much so reminded me of the movie Downsize.
Oh, yeah? See, I haven't seen that yet. With Matt Damon, right?
Yeah, it's Matt Damon. It's a newer movie, and the downsized people all live in these domes that are like these cities.
Right.
It's almost, if you cut out the beginning of Downsize and you started it from when he enters the dome, it's kind of the same. They live in this like utopian world where everyone drinks, they do whatever drug they want, and I guess you could say it's all Huxley-esque.
Right. Very. This is Huxley too, I think.
Inspired. Yeah. It has a Brave New World feel. They don't have. They don't have Soma, but for the most part, they might as well all be on Soma. That's how intelligent they seem when they're
no. That pink cloud that they throw up in the air, that's like a drug. That's like MDMA. Right?
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I didn't really get that.
It's a mild psychedelic, and it makes them get into sex more, because they use it again in what she called the love shop, which was I thought we were going to see like Captain Corrosive there right when they went in, but no, it was a fucking orgy. It's a huge orgy.
Well, I just thought it made you horny. I didn't realize that it made you like high as well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Because they're kind of like, oh, dude, kind of in slow motion.
What, that doesn't happen to you when you get horny?
It ain't in a long time. It's been a while. Oh, since that kind of shit's happened. Oh, shit. Oh, well.
What?
I think we just had bare breasts. Appear on the telly.
Whoops!
Whoopsie daisy.
Oh yeah. I do. They're blurred. They're blurred. Cool.
Yeah, right.
You can't really tell what they are.
That's right. It was quick.
I'm just making you feel good. You can totally see the boobs.
They're fucking awesome, aren't they? Oh. Well, everybody, the experiment's going quite well. Everything's still rolling on everything else, so we're jamming. We're jamming, people. That's right.
Powdered ecstasy, Atema says. Yeah, that might be what it's like.
Yeah, it was literally a pink cloud too, which I thought was kind of tongue in cheek. I think that whole pink cloud.
One thing I noticed. You don't normally. I wouldn't point this out, but in the style of actors that were used, the actors were good, but they were not the way that you would see an actor in modern day films.
Explain that, man. Walk us through that, because I know what you're saying, but I don't think
so. First of all, everyone in the film is still attractive. But they're not like that superficial Botox injection, perfect hip to thigh to bust ratio. No,
nice asymmetrical titties.
Yeah, well,
slightly. Just like,
I guess you could say that they're more like natural looking people. Obviously,
yeah,
they're still the most
pretty.
attractive of the natural looking people, but they definitely don't look like what's her name, Jennifer Fox, or even Jennifer Aniston. I don't know why I'm going with Jennifer's today, but you
I know what you're saying.
They really
fuck, even Charlize Theron has had work done, man. You know.
Yeah. Atem of the Hun in the chat says acting style is very different in her opinion, and
Absolutely.
yeah, the acting style is way different. More of a monologuing, involved emotional acting style rather than. I mean, I guess obviously the culture is kind of different too from the 70s to now. So you might have had somebody back then that was dramatically over the top, and nowadays realism is what you want in your films. Realism is like the ideal, unless you're doing something that's Lemony Snicket's or well,
and in this
dodgeball.
well, and in this society, it's like people go and have plastic surgery, have their faces changed, like we get haircuts and stuff. I mean, it's literally in the kind of it's like an hour long process. You just sit there, you say I want this, and this, and then you get in the bed or whatever it is, and the lasers cut your rearrange your face, and then there's this spray that heals you, right?
Yeah, it's like an instant healing spray.
I think Brittany's right though. I think it is Megan Fox, and hey, Sir Adamantine.
Yeah, Megan Fox. Sorry. Yeah. But so I mean, just so there's a cultural, I can show you the cultural difference here. The first breast implant ever done was done in 1962, right? Yeah. This was filmed only 14 years later. So,
and this was in silicone was a thing. You know what I'm saying? That was the standard.
That's dangerous. But basically, being able to switch your face back then when this movie came out, something that's unheard of. It's like a magical power. Nowadays, people can kind of just do that.
Yeah, it's almost like I think that this movie like foresaw, or the book too, foresaw a lot of this the cult of narcissism. That we are, and how superficial that people have become.
Yeah. Well, what can you become when you have convenience at every touch?
Right, everything. Right, exactly. But the only cost is you only get to live 30 years.
I think a lot of people would trade that.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I don't know, man. I like being old.
Life full of orgies and hot chicks for a shortened life
for 15 years. Fuck. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think there'd be a lot. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of incels out there.
Indeed. I get that. And if you're an incel and you haven't spanked quite a bit, this would be a good movie to watch. I mean, there's not a whole shitload of titties in there, but there's yeah.
It gets the incel spank recommendation.
the spank of approval. That's right. I did want to point out, all right, that the Francis character was originally cast to William Devane. But he went skedaddle when Roy Thinnis, the actor, got cancer and had to get off of the movie Family Plot that was one of the last movies Hitchcock did, which was you know what I'm saying. It was also the first film filmed in stereo and 70 millimeter. I thought that was interesting. All right, so all right, we know what the Sandmen are. Logan checks in with the. It's like when he's doing the tender transporter thing, and Jenny Aguilar's character Jessica shows up, right? There's an ankh hanging around her neck, which is a symbol, which is like a upside down teardrop circle on top of a T, or kind of looks like what we would like a cross with the circle at the top. To some people, I don't know. And so we see that image, and he gets called to chase a runner down, and that runner has when he shoots him, he finds that an ankh in his hand, right? And so he checks in with the AI, sits in this chair, and like puts his everybody's got in their hand a crystal, okay? And in this world, your crystal starts out green, and then I guess it gets yellow, and then it turns red, and then when it turns black is when you go to carousel and you die. And JTR says it's 4 faps out of 5. Indeed. What's up, y'all? Stone Monkey, let's say hi to some people. Stone Monkey is here. JTR, my man. Dick Marks. Well, let's blue you up, bro. Yeah, remakes nowadays are an excuse to draw people into a classic, but replace it with feminist and SJW propaganda. I can see that. I can see that happening. I'll be honest. It can be.
Yeah, I can see that happening too. But yeah. I really think that actually, if I'm quite honest, this movie needs a remake. It's dated badly.
Yeah. You know what? This and Scanners, I think, could do a remake. But Scanners,
yeah, I could see Scanners too.
Oh, dude, that would be good. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to remake, Spider-Man 3 times in the same decade. It's another thing.
Go ahead.
It's another thing to remake a movie from 1976 in 2026.
Right, exactly. So, you've got almost like 2 or 3 generations of people that haven't seen it.
50 years.
Yeah. And what we just saw is like the Washington D.C. covered in vines. That was a thing that happened with Planet of the Apes. At the very end of Planet of the Apes, we realized that Taylor's been on Earth the whole time. When we see the Statue of Liberty sticking up out of the sand, mm-hmm. and so there was a lot of this iconic landmarks. Right, that are in ruins in a lot of these science fiction films that came out in the 70s, and this is a great example of that. It's funny that the dome is within walking distance of Washington D.C., which kind of makes sense in a way if you think about it. See, I had the paperback book, and to be honest with you, I had seen the movie, and the book just didn't grab me, and somewhere in the middle, I just quit reading it. Yeah. And they used real holograms. The scene that I'm looking at right now, this was the first movie to use holograms in it. So that's weird. Just all these weird kind of like technical factoids about this thing.
Wait, so that red star thing is a hologram?
No. The scene where you see his head in three dimensions, you go around. That's an old school hologram, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And what it is it's laser etched, and it's like a bunch of mini pictures, right? And what it doesn't have sound, but anyway. But that was a thing. All right. So when Logan goes to the AI, right? The AI asks him about the Ankh, and Logan don't know what the hell she's talking about, or the AI is a female voice. So I said she. I hope I didn't misgender the AI. That would be unfortunate, wouldn't it? And there's the tits again. Let's see. So the AI begins to tell Logan that the Ankh represents something called sanctuary, and that since the beginning, which they're in the year of 2774. I mean 2374. My bad. Is it 23 or is it 27?
I think it's 23, but I'm surprised they still have toes.
It's 2274. I know, man. It's like there's no vestigial, I know. There's no evolutionary signals. Yeah.
I guess if they're all clones, maybe.
See but they're not, because he said that that kid that he was looking at was his baby. I don't know.
Yeah, but
they didn't flesh that shit out right. They didn't flesh it out. So I know exactly what you're saying there. And the AI tells him that there's been 1,056 unaccounted for runners and implying that these runners got away. Okay.
It was 1039.
I wrote 1056.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I've got a little itty bitty notebook now that I take notes with while I'm watching the film, because my memory's so fucked because I'm old.
Mine's pretty messed up too. That's just all the weed.
Well, you stack shit on top of each other and that adds up, man.
Right.
All right, so let's see. All right. So the AI tells him, puts him on a mission to go to find sanctuary, right? And in order to do this, he has to pretend like he's a runner, and the thing sucks 4 years off of his crystal in his hand, right? Or chip, or it's kind of like both, right? And so it's blinking, and he goes, "What the fuck? Do I get my 4 years back?" The AI never answers. So he's like, "Hey, holy shit! I just got fucked and sent on this mission." So I think you can figure out that along the lines, the chick who he never had sex with because, when she came through the Tinder transporter thing, she said that she was just depressed and she got in there because, she thought it would make her feel better. And so he said, "Oh, don't worry about it," and he's been a perfect gentleman to her, in this ungentlemanly society that we've got. So we see, a romance budding here, I think, let's see. And then he looks at her ankh and asks him about sanctuary, and she plays dumb. She's like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." And then later we see her talking to some of her friends. They obviously all know about sanctuary because they all are holding ankhs and some shit. And they say, "Look, he's got to go because he's a Sandman. Killing runners is his thing. We all want to run because we all want to get to sanctuary, so we don't have to fucking die when we're 30 years old at the end of our 30th year." And so she sets him up to get hit, right?
By a bunch of 15-year-olds.
Yeah. Well, no. He answers that call. Right, he answers the call, and they go to the cathedral where the kids that won't socialize properly are all left until they're 16, and either they adapt or they get retired or terminated, or whatever they're called. I can't remember. I think I'm confusing Blade Runner when I say retire. They're not replicants. So, but yeah. And so they get threatened by these feral kids. We see Newt from Aliens. I thought it was so fucking funny because that kid looked exactly like the kid that played Newt. Did you not get that, man?
Not really.
Okay, it's just when I saw her, I said Newt. So.
I wasn't really looking for it, to be honest.
I feel you. Yeah. And part of the deal was the person that he had killed had been to this place called the plastic surgery place called New U, right? And it's New U number 483. So evidently New U's are everywhere, and that's why I said that there's like getting your hair cut. There's obviously a big thing.
It's supercuts for the face.
He said it is, man, indeed, and the body, man. Remember, they said they'll sculpt your body and shit. And so the receptionist there is none other than the lovely Farrah Fawcett, Majors, and
rest in peace.
Exactly. And so Jessica tells the doc that this dude wants to run, and so he sets him up to get his face redone. And while the machine, there's a machine that's got like it's robotic and with lasers, right? That does that, and then it's also got the mist that heals you. So he just programs, what he wants. And while it's taking care of his cheekbones, he gets a call, and the guy says, "It's done," right? And then he tries to have the robotic lasers kill Logan, and then Logan and he get in a fight, and then he ends up getting killed by the lasers. And then that's when they go to what's called the love shop with the neon vagina.
Can I stop you here, though?
Please do, man.
So, okay, so we've gone over the fact that he gets this mystical quest from the AI, right?
Right, exactly.
I sort of had a problem with the fact that the AI... I mean, I get that it's giving orders to him and he's its subordinate, but what is the point of the AI giving him these orders? It doesn't...
To find those runners, those missing runners. There's 1,000 people that's not accounted for.
Okay, what does the AI care? All it needs to do is not birth 1,000 more people, and then it's good to go.
Right, exactly. Because in a one-on-one, see, that's the flaw in that I noticed myself. It's like why would the AI be concerned with something that there's more resources, so it can allow for I guess extended
margin of error.
Yeah. I mean, it is a rounding error when you get to you've been doing this like 200, 300 years. And,
and at the same time, you find out that nobody gets rebirthed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's not even a 1-for-1. What happens? Like, how have they made it 300 years without just being gone? You'd think that everyone would hit 30, maybe the second generation even, because you've got old people already, and they wouldn't exist anymore.
Right. Well, see, in the book, there was 21 was the age, and they raised it so they could get more actors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see that.
Yeah, me too. That actually made sense. But there's kind of like a zero-sum thing. How it's powered is sketchy. The whole, it's like when they get into the bowels of the dome, and they make it, to the elevator, and they go up, and they end up in frozen land, right? There was one point where she mentioned about being frozen forever, and that was when they were saying that instead of the global warming, it was going to be the Earth by this time was going to be like a frozen zone, and it, of course that was wrong. Oh no, man, dude! I thought you're coming here with different accounts, aren't you? Love you, man. We're gonna talk. Yeah, unknown archive. Or unknown archive.
I mean, he's got like 5 channels, right?
I know. I was being facetious. Actually, it's not working. Obviously. Oh, dude. Yeah. So yeah, they're going to the bowels of the Dome City, and then it's like when they get to the point of where you're meeting all the other people that are wanting to run. He set off this like locator device, right? And all these Sandmen come in and kill everybody, but him and that chick, and they end up running away. I thought that was interesting, directorial choice, because it kind of didn't make sense for a second, but then it did, because I was buying more into that he was like getting wise to the fact that the AI sucked, had sucked life off his thing, and that and that there's no renewal, right? There's a religious allegory there where it's like, there is no fucking afterlife. Get over it.
What's up, Johnny Hellcat?
Johnny Hellcat.
So I guess, but I don't know. So when they're escaping, they go through essentially submarine level, which is where the power is generated.
Yeah.
And they used to farm fish or cows or whatever.
Yeah, they mentioned factory farming. I thought that was interesting too.
And then they go to after his ex-partner shoots out a window and the whole place floods.
Fills up, right? There happens to be a
top
door,
of
like
his ex-partner, mind you.
Yeah, there's like a door that's like 7 feet up in the air, and they have to, and so the water fills up, and they finally get to a point where they can get to the door, get in, and then close it, right?
Yes. Note the partner that is shot out the window is underneath the water right now. Logan and his co-star there, they go to the next level after that, which is an ice cave.
Right.
And the ice cave has these they get in there, they're like, we got to take off our clothes are going to freeze, and they put on, and that's where you get to see the full frontal on the chick.
Nice.
By the way,
tatas, man,
not bad. But
salute to Jenny Agutter.
They put on these like wolf pelts, or I don't know what they're, deer pelt, I don't know,
maybe bear
random
skins.
pelts that are lying on the ground.
It just happened to be there, man.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
And this weird chrome robot comes out of nowhere.
Well, he's not a robot, man. He's a cyborg. Remember, he says he's more than a man. He's more than a machine.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry.
So there's a little meat in there. That's why, telegraph it to everybody. He was insane. He's a crazy robot. He made all this. His job was to take the plankton out of the ocean and freeze it, and then take the everything out of the ocean and freeze it that can be consumed, right? And then we find out that he's been doing that with the runners that have made it hit to his level. So it's
but
go ahead.
This doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think he's just insane. I think that's what they're trying to imply, is that.
But
yeah.
Nobody. Okay. I mean, like, nobody. First of all, does every time somebody runs, does the window get shot out and the whole place floods? Like, what is this?
No. See see, you're asking too many questions now, man.
It just doesn't have any continuity. It's like, who wrote this story? Look, the concept of the whole thing, dystopian story, great idea. Mm-hmm. The execution of some of these things, like, what are we playing, a 1990s video game where you found this level, it doesn't have to make sense, next level won't make sense either?
But it's a 1990s video game in the fucking 1970s. That's kind of the idea. So no. It's hard to put your brain in that kind of mindscape. As to what people would remember, man. Like, even like really shitty movies with horrible acting and horrible special effects made it to theaters and ran in theaters.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Right? And they didn't make it to TV till like 2 years later.
But these people are watching this movie in 2019.
Right. Well, right. So, and this is definitely, there's definitely dated, aspects for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, and then there's I'm not sure that the science behind it was real researched.
Clearly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because usually a good sci-fi will answer all your questions like that, right?
No, it doesn't have to answer all of them. It just has to, like, look.
Well, why were all the frozen people naked was my question.
I guess that level just floods every time.
And then you end up on a fucking elevator that you accidentally puts a switch on. I mean, because they're not going to know how to turn on that elevator, right?
Yeah, they're not gonna. I mean, anyone who's logical could see that kind of would be something you might want to try.
Yeah, exactly. What does this do, right?
Yeah, but that once again, this is all beside the point, because what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be logical. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be explained. What I mean by continuity is that in something that is a sci-fi, if you're going to set parameters, then those parameters have to be logically followed through.
Right.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
And they are not.
Right. Tonally, the movie kind of undulates, right?
It does. It goes from mystical, magical, it goes from science-based dystopian future to mystical, magical game levels.
Well, don't you think that the box thing is like kind of where the movie starts kind of like going just a little bit into like hokey land? And
the box thing? What is that?
That's the name of that cyborg thing.
Oh, okay.
His name is Box, voiced by Roscoe. Actually, it's Roscoe Lee Brown And if you can tell, the mask is horrible. It's a horrible vacuum formed mask.
It's terrible.
Oh, dude. I mean, it's ridiculously bad. And if I had anything to do with that, I would not put my name on that shit either. I'm just saying.
But yeah, I don't know. I started noticing the hokiness when they were firing at each other. The Sandman, their guns. It's supposed to be futuristic, but they just fire this like sparkler thing.
Well, yeah, it was like a modified butane lighter, like with 4 flames that shoot out at different directions. I'm going, well, which one of those is going to hit somebody, man?
Well, and that's the thing is that I was wondering. Is it that the guns are just terribly shit in the future, or is it that these people don't know how to aim because
is it a muzzle brake
miss constantly?
Is it conceptually like a muzzle brake on a cannon or on a tank or some shit, right?
Well, and when it fires at the person, right, whatever it hits,
no recoil,
and also the whatever it hits is like covered in sparkler,
and
showers, like fireworks,
and flames up, right? Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm like, this person doesn't know how lasers work. They don't know how any of this. They don't know, like, what world would a gun that shoots a sparkler bullet ever be applicable? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. What did you think about the cleanup thing that cleaned up all the corpses and stuff from the Sandmen?
That was cool.
I thought that was cool too, man.
Yeah,
because that explained where the bodies went, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's actually something that's logical and could make sense.
Exactly. And that's what I think is that I think that at this point with Box, I think is where the script kind of went probably off the book a little bit. What do you think? That would make sense to me.
I've never read the book, so I don't know. But
see, it was so long ago, Brian. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, that ship sailed. But I might pick it up again or find it on a recorded version. Yep. So after they defeat Box and kill Box, they end up looking at the sunset outside, and so they wander through the outside. She gets freaked out by a lizard, and then later by a cat. You know what, man? Did you notice that he was quoting T.S. Eliot's naming of cats? Peter Ustinov's character.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the poem that inspired the Andrew Lloyd Webber to do the play Cats.
Really?
Actually, yeah, it's a set of. It's actually a book of poems, a small book of poems that all that whole play is based off of, and the name of the Cats is one of the primary. Pieces about it. So I thought that was interesting because I knew I'd heard it before and I had to look it up. And I was, oh, yeah, okay, it's T.S. Eliot. That's what I thought.
Well, okay, but so basically what happens after this, the story takes a very, very slow progression through this portion.
Yeah. It's very slow.
All that happens, and I'm just going to ruin it.
The pacing is really bad.
It's very bad. All that happens is they find an old man. He's got a lot of cats, and they bring him back to the domes. That's basically all that happens.
Well, and he's in some building in Washington that had a lot of books in it. The books are stacked up.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. Because the dude probably can't read. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe. Who knows?
But he's quoting T.S. Eliot, so he had to have been able to read. Oh, shit. All right.
Yeah,
but more problems.
There's a lot of problems with this, and then the old man,
right, and then they go back to tell everybody that final day is bullshit. That there's no renewal. Basically there is no heaven. And you won't become a child again when you're killed. It's all bullshit. Come here and meet an old man, right? I love the quote, though. I do like the quote where she asks him if the cracks in his face hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. So, there were moments, man. Jenny Aguilar's a great actress. She's in Civil War. she's the person that Scarlett Johansson's character imitates to get in. So when God, what's that guy's name? All the President's Men guy owns the Sundance, the whole city. Anyway, to make a long story short, yes, no.
yeah, I do remember that.
So all right, so they go back to the dome and tell everybody it's all bullshit. You know, follow us if you want to meet an old man. It's the Sandmen capture him. They take him to the AI. The AI freaks out because all the information that he had doesn't make any sense at all to the AI, and the AI just like blows up. Okay, which doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't. First of all, they clearly didn't have any concept of what an AI would be.
Johnny Hellcat is correct. Yeah, exactly, man. Well, and back then, see, they wouldn't have called it that, right? I'm giving it this word.
No, they called it the AI.
Oh, they did.
They did.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah. It was definitely the AI got confused and some type of cognitive dissonance made it explode. The whole fucking dome was coming down. And so they all run out, and there's all these people, and they all surround this whole man. And the movie ends, man. It's like, what the fuck? That ending was horrible. I mean, just
it was. Literally, okay. No movie should ever end with the end being written at the final screen.
In a frozen,
that was not an ending.
A freeze frame, the end, right? Superimposed on top of it, man. That looked like somebody did an OBS. Yeah. In a bad way, a bad OBS presentation. But yeah, so and if you want to contrast this movie with the Clockwork Orange, which came out, 6 years before, Clockwork Orange still stands the test of time, and Logan's Run is iffy in places after they get to the box thing,
just in places.
No, in a lot of places. No, from box on, man, it's like, okay, this thing falls to pieces, in my opinion. Okay, because they don't answer any of the questions that there's a couple of setups in the first half that they just don't even acknowledge. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, in comparison. Clockwork Orange is like, it's like 20 of these. But then again, if you want to see a nice set of tits and you got an hour and a half to kill, this is your movie. I'm just saying.
It's not horrible, but I would probably... It's definite. I would more so classify this as fantasy than sci-fi because of the way the movie goes.
Oh, okay.
Because there's sci-fi implies science fiction,
Yeah, but it's also future shock shit. That's what they called it back then, was future shock. Yeah. Because it's so shocking, the stuff they do. Like there's a scene where he's doing the Tinder transporter, and there's a dude in there, and then he asks another guy, "Are you into men or something?" Which in 1976, that was like, borderline like risque, controversial type subject matter. And, of course it's not now, but, so there was some ahead of its time shit, I think, especially, sexual mores, because the book was written during the sexual revolution. It came out, just before the Summer of Love. Right, so there was all this hippie stuff that was influencing it, the writing, et cetera, et cetera.
So what would you give it out of 10 then?
For me, it was nostalgic, so as a film, okay, all right, as somebody who wants to criticize films, for the people that are watching this, that are consuming this content, I would say watch it with if you choose to watch it. I'll put it that way. watch it with a tongue in cheek, because there's going to be some shit that you're going to go, what the fuck, and fair enough. It's definitely warranted in this case. Whereas, Clockwork Orange did not make me do that. So out of a 10, I'm giving it 6.5, maybe a 7. It depends on how nostalgic I am. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I was going to give it a 6 out of 10, to be honest.
Okay. So we're concurring for the second time in a row.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's entertaining if you want to turn your mind off and sit back and maybe, I don't know, this is a Netflix and chill style movie because there's no blood and there's some boobs in it.
Yeah. This is a get stoned and just, if you got couch lock, just put it on and just try to kind of soak it in, man.
Mm-hmm. But if you're, would I recommend this to a friend? No, I really wouldn't. I get that it's a classic and that it's probably some people are not going to be happy with the fact that
it's not really a sci-fi classic in my opinion. I don't consider it a classic movie. I just think it's I don't know. I've heard of it a lot. Yeah, really? Okay. Mm-hmm. I just, in my mind, I don't see it as that. That's why
when we were talking about it, I was like, why don't we do it? Because now it's on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, and they put it, and this supposedly was a digitally cleaned up version, but like you said, there's you could see some of the strings when those people are flying and shit. I wonder why they didn't get rid of that. I don't know. That was a question.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, digitally cleaned up doesn't mean perfect.
No, well, and that may be part of it, is that you can see it now, right? Yeah. Whereas you probably couldn't on the film. So there's that. But I don't have 4K, so there's going to be stuff that I'm going to miss just because of, I've got a lower standard.
So what are we doing next week, sir?
All right, next week we're doing a new movie to Netflix called The Silence. All right, and we're not going to give it away, but Brian and I were talking about it earlier. And then the week after that, we're going to do the series Black Summer. Okay.
Yep.
Which is a series, and I'm not going to voice any thing about it. But if you want to, Brian, go ahead.
Well, I am for next week's Silence, because when you open Netflix, it just shows you right away.
Boom, boom. And I hate that. It's like usually I want to go back to the last thing I was watching. Because it's like Breaking Bad or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. I'm watching Breaking Bad again, so there's that.
Well, so this is the movie is about a pterodactyl apocalypse. So
don't give it away now.
Whoa! I'm not giving away anything. It's literally, as you open Netflix, you will see the trailer for this because you don't have an option. Because Netflix is shit like that.
Right.
And so you're going to know before you even watch it that it's about a pterodactyl apocalypse. So this should be good. Let's see how it does.
It should be fun, at least. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And on that note, Brian, what you got coming up, dude, before we slide out of here?
Got some cinnamon rolls. I'm going to feed my dog a $50 filet mignon steak.
Holy
and
shit.
Probably make some cheese or some butter soon here.
You just brought that Iggy Pop song, that Iggy and the Stooges song to my mind. Now I Want to Be Your Dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you need to tell me what album that's on, because I'm going to see if I can use that in the background.
It's on Raw Power, I think. It's on either that or their first album, Search and Destroy. I'll find it for you. No problem.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. MGTOW Warrior, welcome aboard. You have been you've been wrenched as we exit out, and let's see. Of course, Cream stream tomorrow night. We'll probably try to do this DLive and Twitch thing again with in conjunction with YouTube. And Sunday, speaking of Unknown Archive, I will be talking with the Unknown Archive, interviewing him, finding out more about him. So. And on that note, Brian.
Thug Life fam.
That's right. Sorry, Prostate, saying it's in the bucket, and we'll see you because I'm OUT. Later, taters.
Every week on Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, the Cream Stream, the weekly world news for YouTube. Sundays, 5 p.m. Eastern, the Ice Cream Interviews, fascinating people, fascinating people. Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, Hot Takes with the Butter Baron, watching horrible shit so you don't have to. Subscribe to IRATE Prostate now.